Welcome everybody to another episode of Session 0. Here we are in our, I don't even know what session now. We've had almost 2 days in our game, and our heroes have just destroyed their first major boss. So let's not waste any more time. Let's unmute all of the people. How do I do that? Oh, it's not working. Let's unmute all of the people and let's find out what's going on. Good evening, everybody. I'm just going through and unmuting you, so you should be able to do talking as of all of the right nows. In fact, you might even be able to hear me now. When we've done that, all we're doing is waiting on Brendo. There we go.
Hello.
That's it. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey.
So, we've got a lot to catch up on. In our last session, Brendo, we missed you, man, so we're glad that you're back.
It's good to be back.
I've got to say, you missed a little bit of information, which we'll have to catch you up on. One thing you missed, which perhaps we shouldn't catch you up on, is I may have tried to do Formosis's accent, and it may not have been a fantastic idea.
It was great. No, it was good.
Amazing.
So just in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the last session, I'm like, screw it, we're going to try this, just to get a few things rolling, and I'm not sure it was a good idea.
Only good things. Only good things.
So
I enjoyed it.
we've had about 2 days of your characters in game, and they've messed stuff up. So this evening, once we get into things, I think we're going to start with our level 4, but we finished off last session just as everybody crossed the threshold back into the Always Tavern. So before we go in there, is there anything that we need to sort of check out and make sure we've got sorted before we get into the meat of the session?
That I can think of.
Alrighty. I would say Brendo Formosus was coming off his binge with Sepa, the Session 0 IPA dragon. So if you don't remember anything properly, I'm sure we've got that out. And on that note, I'm going to have you guys talk amongst yourselves, partially in case there's stuff that you want to plan, such as coming up with a name that I don't have to know about yet. But more importantly, by a long shot, I haven't got my drink yet, so I've got to go and get myself a drink.
Hydration is important.
Hydration is very important. So, give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
Okay. It'd be good to agree on a theme, at least. Whether it's something grandiose and heroic, something self-effacing or tongue-in-cheek, or trying to strike both. I don't know.
Does anyone have any example?
I've had loads, but I've ditched them myself.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult coming up with a name, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. Because, like, something that sounds cool when you name yourself that is not cool anymore because you've named yourself that.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're, like, naming someone else and giving them a cool name and you're like, yeah, that's wicked, yeah, I love that, awesome. But, like, or if you're writing a story and you give other characters stuff, it's different to when it's your own. Like, yeah, I'm cool, I'll give myself this cool name. It instantly sounds less cool.
If we had a collective goal, you know, that you could name it something around that. I don't know that we do.
Yeah, we don't really have a coherent theme either.
No.
Yeah. They're basically just a gaggle of fuck-ups, aren't we?
Well, that could be a thing.
Very successful. Yeah.
We are the gaggle. I like it. There we go.
The glorious gaggle.
I love that question though. As you were,
Glorious gaggle.
I love that question though because, like I think I heard Tanare saying, who names themselves? I mean, how arrogant of an adventuring party do you have to go?
I know. It just seems like
we might run into a bad guy and we might have to talk to the king. What are we going to call ourselves? We need a name. Let's get a name. Come on, guys. Let's spitball around the table before we go killing things. I'm not sure it happens, which is always funny when like, who are you guys? Like we're We're just some guys, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, this is just us, like, do you want our names, or...
Yeah. This is
I actually have some really cool roll tables for that sort of thing, but I have no idea where they're packed away.
Yeah.
excellent. Anywho, let's get
But we can.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could just go and combine bits of our names.
Yeah. I think we could also
Uh,
throw, as we come up with any, throw them into the chat as well.
What about the Mad Fools?
Yeah.
That works. It's like, if, like, the combining names, we could go for Retfor.
We could be like the Rat Keepers because like we dealt with the rat, the maze and the maze lord.
the
and-
rat's
I don't
maze.
know.
Yeah.
Rat's maze. I don't know. There's so many, but like they're not. I haven't honestly put much thought into it. Like everything I've come up with has just been silly and lame.
Yeah. Well, it's not
Or,
the.
like not silly in a good way, you know.
I'm not going to. Hey, Lost One, how you doing? I'm not going to force it on you all, but I'm just trying to put it in your thoughts. So when there's something that comes up, we can roll with that then. So the next time somebody asks you who you are, they'll be much more likely to expect an answer than they have been up
Yeah,
until
we can get a
now.
reputation.
Yeah.
That's it.
And something that just occurred to me, if we, like, do we want people to know who we are and stuff? Because,
Oh, yeah.
Do we want
because, like,
people to?
Oh, yeah.
if we're not after, because if we're not after fame and glory, we could just be little gits about it, and
Yeah.
give them a
Give a
different,
different
name
name
every
every
time.
time.
that would
Yeah,
be
that's what I was
amazing.
thinking.
Yeah. So it's
We
just
just
like,
have a rotation.
As-
We
yeah,
roll the
it's just
dice.
like-
What are we this time?
As
Yeah,
a-
it's
We
like
should have
just
our
every
own
time
roll
we-
table of names.
yeah,
As-
every time we get asked, like, what, we just take turns.
As DM,
Yeah, yeah.
though, I'm going to throw that back onto you guys to record and publish, and then I'll be checking that you don't double up.
Yep.
I think
So
just
each
having,
have a
Give
list.
a different name to someone who we've already given a name to.
Oh, keeping track of that is just a whole other network.
So we won't do it.
yeah. I think just having a backup name that we give when we don't want to give our name out. So there's the anti-party.
There's two personas.
Yeah, the Bruce Wayne and the whatever.
Alrighty. Anyway, that may or may not come
Yeah.
up this session because I've done the usual amount of planning, which is right next to 0. It's not on 0, mind, because I had half an hour before we started. So when we left the party, the unnamed party, last session, you were stepping across the threshold into the Always Tavern with the idea of grabbing a bit of food to walk as you walk up the stairs and crashing in your room, which you still have. So you do that. You push your way through the front door. Most of the blood is cut off. Is off your obvious forms, but you quite obviously look like you've had a bit of an evening. And as you come in, Bridget looks up and sort of nods, sort of gives you a second glance, and then just sort of shrugs. It's like, you're definitely not the first people to have come in here after a dust up.
I probably look exactly the same as they used to.
Yeah. And as you walk past, Bridget goes, "Quiet night, hey?"
Yeah, quiet night.
Yeah.
Have
Pretty
you
average.
have you eaten?
No, I haven't had
No.
second dinner yet.
Oh well, everybody needs second dinner. I'll get Ellen to put something out. There's still some stuff out there, I think. So I'll get Ellen to rack up a few bowls. Do you want it down here or up in the room?
I reckon we could all use a bit of peace and quiet right now, can't we?
Yeah, I'm pretty tired. I'd like to just crash, I think.
I also
Yeah, we'll take
I
it in the
smell
room.
of alcohol, so I would like to have a bath as well.
Ellen!
Because
Oh,
I am
you should,
literally,
definitely.
and I like stick my hand on one of the walls and it peels off. I'm that sticky from like that dry rancid
You're like-
beer.
You're sweating alcohol at this point.
Yeah.
Ellen! 4 to room 9 and haul the tub up as well.
Appreciate it.
At your own time. You staying tomorrow, or is this it?
I'll look from side to side. I think we're hitting the road. I don't know.
Cool. We can decide this morning.
Yeah, we can decide in the morning, I reckon.
Yeah, I think we need to
Yeah,
have a
something
discussion.
for future us.
I'm too tired for that discussion right now.
No worries. So she sort of nods and assumes that you're done and sort of goes back to what she was doing, which is pretty much leaning on the bar and sipping from her own flagon.
Yeah, let's relegate what we're doing from now as a problem for future us.
Yeah, that's tomorrow Kitty's problem. I mean, tomorrow's problem.
So
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, this was one of your rooms and this was one of your rooms.
Yeah.
Now, when you get up there, you find that the four beds that you... The four
Was there
beds...
one with a balcony? Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, there was this one here, which has this balcony. And then there was
Yeah.
this one here with no balcony, but you'd moved all the beds into this one.
Yeah.
But you've noticed that they've been reset now. There's also a balcony with a sort of common area up here, which doesn't seem significantly used, but it sort of allows you to see any comings and goings.
That sounds like a good spot to sit down and have something to eat before we turn in.
I'll take out my notebook and start writing down the events of the day. It's not a journal, but
Journaling.
short phrases, dot points.
Yeah. Oh, if we end up leaving town tomorrow, one thing I'd like to do before we leave is pick up a cartographer's kit. See if
Yeah,
I
there's
can
a few
make some
things-
slightly more accurate maps. Then I pull out one of my scraps of paper. This.
Right.
There's a few things I'd like to get to.
Alfia, when you look at that map, anything to do with the stump or the time dilation in the forest, it's completely not accurate. Like, you can see that there's sort of a circle that says stump this area, and there's another circle that goes weird stuff happened in the forest. But the details of it have all gone.
Fuck.
You reckon you could retrace your you reckon you could retrace your steps, but if somebody else needed to use that map, there'd be no hope. The stump's easy enough to see. You sort of you go out on the balcony and you can see it. And you're like,
Yeah, and it's like, it's more a case of, it's like, it's not really properly measured out and stuff. So it's like, I could use it, and someone could use it in a pinch, but it's not accurate to distance and everything. It's not accurate to scale.
nah.
And the notes on it are very scribbled. It's like, it looks like it's one that was drawn in a hurry on a scrap of paper.
Except for those two pieces, which are beautifully coloured and drawn perfectly, but completely inaccurate as to distance and time and space.
So like botanical sketches, they're beautiful.
That's it. Except
With a lot of colours.
Hey.
and completely different to the rest of it there. Just those two ones. You
yeah,
can
like-
see that was your hand that drew them, but that's not how you did it.
Yeah. No, I don't recall being such an artist. Future Althea problem.
Roll me an intelligence check.
I did it as a saving throw because it's the same dice, I don't have any bonuses for it.
Perfect.
And yeah, 5.
You reckon that next time you try and draw a map, you're going to go and draw it in that forest because it looks so cool. Even if it's not, strictly speaking, accurate, it'll just be cool. And like you're sort of fighting with yourself because you're like, that'd totally work. And then you're like, oh, but it might be magic.
A vibe.
Yeah, it's just like, look, it's really pretty, but no. But it's really pretty. But no.
So you're pouring through those maps, and within a few moments, the food comes up. It's just it's the perpetual stew. It's been nicely heated. As
Reheated stew, always good.
As-
Better and fresh.
as Alan comes up, You notice that she looks familiar. In fact, Ellen notices it too. She stands on the top step and freezes and just goes, you guys. And her head goes down and she sort of puts the stuff down really quickly. You recognise that she was the spy. Oh, not the spy, sorry. One of the people who was bullying the Hagnon in the first place. In fact, she was the first one who realised that she was in the wrong place and bailed out first. And said, well, wait a minute, this is not for me.
We do all learn from our mistakes.
But yeah, she doesn't say anything. She's just like, well, you guys, and puts her head down and drops it, and she sort of looks at you, Formosus, and says, I'll set the bath down the corridor, and she sort of points at this little room at the end. Oh, hold on, I need to do it over here, don't I?
It's good that you've got a separate room for the bath. I
Yeah.
was a little concerned about how that was going to happen.
And when you open it up, it's literally got this, it's the size of a bath, and there's a little tub sitting in there, which she busies about filling up, and once she's dropped the food off to you. She also comes up with a tray of 4 drinks and offers them around. They're all ale.
Yeah.
I'll accept it with thanks.
Yeah.
Are we in this top room? The foyer, the hall at the top?
Yeah, you're sort of sitting out here at one of the short, low couches and coffee tables that are here. This door's open. There's a nice warm breeze coming in. You can see the sort of glow inside the room of the last house across the road.
Okay. I'll be putting that edge back on all those daggers of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a sharpen, bit of a tickle up after today's activities.
And you figure, for most of this, it'll be probably 10 or 15 minutes before the bath's been drawn.
Yeah, no taps.
Yep.
I'm not going to take the food, but I'll take the ale and try and find somewhere quiet. Maybe if everyone's eating in the common area and Formosus is having a bath in that other room, maybe I'll sit in one of our rooms
Okay,
by myself for a minute.
sure.
I just want to do some sort of meditation and that sort of thing.
No worries. Anyone else? What else is the rest of you all doing?
I'm going to just go over all of my bruises and injuries and make sure none of them are likely to be serious. It's like I'm used to having to check myself over after fights, and I'll offer to check everyone else over, make sure that none of their injuries are serious.
Like
Because-
checking for ticks after
To the left.
Yeah, it's like make sure there's no open wounds left, because even though we've been magically healed, it's only been a bit. And we don't want anything to get infected, so, going over all of that.
Yep.
And just, because I've got the medical training and everything, I've got the medicine kit.
As you're doing that, you realise that your shoulders feel really tender. Up around sort of the muscles that go up into your neck. Just every time you touch them, you're like, oh man! And you don't get hit there, but it takes you a few minutes to remember exactly why that is. But
Ow!
Is
Yeah,
that,
no,
is that a raw wound? Is it like Wolverine's claws where they like bust out of the skin every time?
yeah,
That's hardcore.
it feels like that, but it's more just having this huge extra appendage on your shoulder. Obviously,
it's
your muscles
because-
aren't used to it.
Yeah, those
And
muscles.
it's because I've had to use muscles that, not only have I never used, I have never had before.
Yeah, they're baby muscles.
Yeah, it's just like suddenly having 2 fully developed wings attached. And it's like, and the first time I'm using them being in a giant storm of a fight.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, crap.
But no, nothing that's not going to heal. You reckon that you're going to get one of those bruises on your right knee. You know, the ones that go green and yellow and you get this awesome multicolour look? Not
Of the ones that don't drain, so you end up getting the biolification effect underneath.
Oh, absolutely. But it's not going to have
Yeah.
any ill effect, but you probably just want to watch it for the next couple of days.
Yeah, probably chuck chuck some ice on it now, and then chuck some heat on it over the next few days to help it drain away.
And once you sort of tried to offer to check over Tanare, Tanare sort of moves off into one of the rooms. Do you take the balcony room, Tanare, or the other?
I think what time of night is it?
It's probably 9 or 10 in the evening. It's pretty late.
Okay, yeah, the balcony room. I maybe try to get a bit of a breeze blowing through there if it's not too noisy.
And there's quite a nice breeze that's blowing out that you felt in the main room
use
there.
that for a part of the prayer and meditation to sort of release stress and, connect with environment.
Excellent.
She's
And
used to having the sounds of the ocean around her, so she's just trying to sort of get some kind of wind going.
you sort of manage to get in the cadence of the trees, so there's a bit of a breeze, and if you listen and you sort of block out all the sounds of the
just really focus
the hotel and the people walking and the noise outside, you can start to hear the wind blowing lightly through the trees, and it's a short walk between the two in terms of calming sounds.
Yeah, it's white noise.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So focusing on that, try to start maybe I don't know if she has prayer beads or something that help her in that meditation. That kind of thing.
Okay, roll me a religion check, please, Tanari.
Yes. Should be good at this one. Ugh, if my rolls were any better. I got a 10.
You sit down, but you struggle to really hit that deep cadence of a meditation that you normally would. Something doesn't feel right, and you don't think it's just what's gone on today. Just since you came here, you left the Stormbreak Islands under a cloud with the death, with what appeared to be the death of the individual who was widely rumoured to be the true head of your order, although that had been never mentioned formally or out loud. And of course it appeared that you've been implicated in that somehow. You already sort of decided to leave or to do something because of the change in your relationship and the loss of that close friendship. And then ever since then, nothing's felt as though it's gone the way it's supposed to. It's not like this wasn't fated to happen because, what happens. It just, something feels prickly about it. Seems to be too much and too many sort of curveballs. It feels like it doesn't fit the balance.
Maybe someone's pushing somewhere they shouldn't.
I mean, you weren't even certain that hags and that kind of tricky fae stuff was real, much less you've run into some weird ass dude. What were their names? I did write it down this time. Zalnar and the carriage, and then there was Balia, in that fae demiplane, and then weird rabbit dudes sort of hopping around through time dilations, and then all of a sudden you're fighting some dude who's covering for some woman who was in turn being dominated by some other person it's just a huge thing of corruption and misdirection.
And there's the mysterious hag gift that I have not even looked at yet properly. So I've been terrified and also busy.
Absolutely. And so you sit with that for a while and just try, and eventually you find that comfort and you just start to sort of zone out for a little while. Alright. Meanwhile, you see Ellen sort of look up, come past again and say, Mr. Feminosis, the bath is drawn, it's ready.
I try and channel my inner Tenare. Thank you so much. And then I actively am thinking, and then I just stop and I just walk in, have my bath, zone out, pretend I'm in a completely different realm, space. Just
Cast a few cantrip lights and stuff flying around you.
Yeah.
Little candles that are
got some
floating. A
atmosphere.
little tune happening, maybe a little
In my
spin from the
mind,
bar.
I've plane shifted to paradise while my physical body is just being cleansed of mud.
I'll knock on the door and say, now don't pull the plug.
You just hear
Oh, it's
bubbles.
not a plug. You have to have like the servants have to like manually scoop it out. It's not even.
Yeah, all right, great. It's not going to go to waste then.
Yeah, I'm going to go downstairs. It's like, once I've eaten, I'm going to go downstairs and just toss them however much coin it takes to just have a couple more baths drawn up, because it seems like a few of us could use one. And
you find out that space-wise it's not particularly easy to do, but Bridget, for the 5 gold that you drop down, Bridget assures you that they'll make sure they redraw it every time it gets cold over the course of the evening.
Any chance I can have one on the balcony?
Roll, Alfia, roll me a persuasion check with your putting down of the gold.
Nah.
Costs you an extra 5 gold, but you managed to get 1 more bath brought up.
There's space on the balcony.
Bridget sort of says it's going to be a bit hard to get it into the room there, but they sort of set it up just behind the column here where nobody will see it unless they're out there.
By the way, that is half a year's wages for a commoner that I just spent on baths.
Yeah, but
On a bar. You're becoming elite.
this is the always. Commoners don't come here very often. That's why it's not in the town. This is and that's the weird thing that you're realizing, Alfia, as somebody who, since a long time ago, have been in the town. You're realizing that the intercolonial sort of currencies don't work. The exchange rate is just broken. Like inside a city in the rat's nest, a gold will cover people for a week or a month, depending on how you live. But the second that you get out into the sort of wilderness, the common comforts of the city, even as squalid as they are, suddenly change, and there's much more comfort available, but the scale of cost of it changes significantly as well. If you roll me a history or an intelligence check for that, anybody who thinks they would notice it, I might tell you why.
History, huh?
History would work, or an intelligence-based check.
Nah.
You notice it, Alfia, but you're like, wow, it's expensive here. It's nice, though.
Yeah. And that is something that I would notice but not really know the reasoning behind, because I've had higher priorities.
Yeah, and
Damn, girls.
Tanara, for you, you've literally left Stormbreak where there wasn't a money economy. You've come in and been sort of shepherded through a city.
It makes sense, but I have no idea about
Yeah, you're like, hey.
It's stuff I've thought, and there's like a theory, but not a personal experience. So my ideas, I mean, that role totally works in this case.
Yeah. I would even go so far to say, though, is you're looking at this and you're like, you can count and everything, and you're sort of going, this money business, it makes no freaking sense. Like, there's no way to rationalize the way it works together.
Just a placeholder.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Although, as soon as Elfie realizes this, she pulls out one little book that's very ratty looking, and it's just like full of different notes and stuff, and actually writes down the perceived difference in there, because that's something that that's tying to something that she's kind of intending to work on.
Okay, plan to put that in, but you wouldn't have picked that up with your 2 there. So, Remy, do you want to, put that in for the next time, because this will come up again, but next time that comes up, naturally, you can start doing that. Remy, I might get you to roll for that as well, because you're the other person who's really popped between a few different eras. For Moses, you don't get to do it, you're in the bath.
Yeah. I just think this is all just normal anyway.
Yeah, you're probably used to it, to be honest.
Did you say history? I missed the actual...
Yeah, it could be a history or anything intelligent based. It's more about whether you realise the pattern here.
Okay.
And I believe because of setting specific, we can also use Arcana.
You could probably get away with Arcana, yeah.
Well, for me.
Yeah, again, Remy, you recognise that there's some differences, but it's not what you're here to worry about. You know, you were a
I
farmer.
don't actually care.
Yeah, you were a farmer a season ago, and then you were a mobster, and now it looks like you're going to be a hero. Whatever.
Yeah. I'm not thinking of the poor and squalid rows in the table anymore. I'm only looking at comfortable and wealthy.
And you're like, geez, I can afford it now. Whatevs. I ain't picking no more corn.
Exactly.
And so after a few hours, you manage to all cycle through your bath, and you get to that stage after rigorous, violent exercise where the aches start to sort of calm down, and you reckon you could probably sleep.
Yeah, so long as I'm cleaned all my weapons and tucked them away somewhere at hand, I'll crash out straight away.
Alrighty. So if you haven't already, you can all quick a long rest, and you are all now at level 4.
What room did we go in? Because if I was doing a bit of meditation and prayer in that room with the balcony, near the balcony, is that where you guys went as well?
There's 3 beds. There's 3 beds in each room, and you're. I'd sort of imagine, Tanare, that you're on a sort of like a day bed just out by the balcony there. Yeah. There's a nice, comfy day bed in the corner. So if you're sort of meditating there, it unless you've taken a bunk or something like that, there's 3 beds in the room.
No, I was planning on being sort of out, like either on cushions or on a thing out there, somewhere away if I could.
Yeah.
So that I wasn't like stopping them going to bed if they wanted to go to bed.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Cool. I'll stay up a little bit late, even though I'm exhausted.
No worries. Now that if that's it and everyone sort of heads to bed, which rooms are you all going to then?
Althea probably has her usual post-fight room that she likes. It's probably one that's like, sort of tucked away in one of the corners.
Normally, your post-fight rooms, you wouldn't come out here. So the ones that you're in are those 2. The one you stayed in last night is there. Is this little guy here?
Yeah. Yeah, she'll go and stay at the one that's near the stairs because she likes to wake up early and go and like get some exercise and stuff early in the morning.
Also push-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
All that business that fighters do.
Remy and Phimosis, what about you folks?
I'm going to go into the room that we were expecting was going to get invaded, that we moved all the furniture out of.
Okay, so when you walk in there, you notice that you're sure Tanare went in that side, but she's not there. So you look around a little bit and you see the doors cat, and you see out the window, and you can see she's just sitting there, sort of half reclined on the day bed. Not like so it looks like she's sort of looking out into the distance, but you sort of gather that there's probably a little bit more going on there, and you decide to leave her to her meditation.
Althea made a point. Althea made a point of when setting up the baths for everyone to ask for a cold one for herself, because she doesn't she wants to stop her bruises from getting too bad.
Okay, so you wait till last, and they drop some ice in of the last cold bath before they put you in. What about you, Phimosis?
Closest room, I stumble out of the bath after a few hours, and I try.
I imagine you're in a little towel as well, like.
Yep. I tried to ask for a bathrobe, and they were like, all we can do is 2 towels. So I've kind of awkwardly created this toga out of 2 towels, holding my bundle of clothes under one arm.
More on loincloth.
I was imagining Moses coming out with a towel, but thrown over his shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has some sense
or his hair's done up in it, you know?
Yeah.
The beehive.
Like the towel wrapped around his horns, so it's more drying his horns than his hair.
Yeah.
You know what? With those 2 towels, Phimosis, I'm going to get you to roll either a performance check to
Oh my god.
to turn those 2 towels as best as you can into the robe that you wanted.
It's actually a swan now.
I can do this. I can do this. I can do this.
Just cast illusion, we'll all think it looks really good.
Come on.
What do we got? What do we got?
This.
Yep. Okay. It's like your character's recently leveled up. I'm like, yeah, that's not important right now. What's important is my performance.
Yeah, we'll get to the leveling up after we found out about the towel. Damn it!
This is like every tavern performance you've ever given for Moses.
It really is.
It kind of is, yeah. 14.
Oh, hello.
Oh no, we've lost.
No, Alfia.
We've lost Alfia.
This-
Oh wait, there's Elfie.
Oh,
She's back down the bottom. And they come back. Good.
excellent.
I was Alfia for a second there, according to the faces. With a 14, you pull off a reasonably decent robe. Yeah, one of the towels is probably not going to be okay. It's probably not going to need to be used again.
Not
But
my problem.
they're not white. They're sort of an off-white grey, but it's definitely robe-ish. You get the impression that if you walk too fast, it'll be a bit revealing. But for a little bit of a swan down to your room, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it will be good.
Excellent. All right. Well, if you all press the long rest button, you have all had your long rest. You don't worry about setting a watch. There's plenty of people doing that for you in the all ways. And you're all level 4.
Woo!
So tell us, what's the plan? We're going to go clockwise on the stream page from Tanare. So Tanare, what are you doing with level 4? What's new for you?
Not much is new. However, it is significant. I have taken the healer feat actually.
Wow, change
So
it.
all that all this notion of her, not really having used her abilities and aptitude toward healing much before, rather than just comfort and easing. She's recently, I guess, the close call with all of us in this situation has opened her eyes a little bit. So she's rethinking her role in life. Her role in life has been designated to her for most of her life, and she was good at it. But now she's kind of in the world and with people she cares about. She doesn't want. They're not already dying, you know. And she sees that maybe there is application for her abilities elsewhere.
Fantastic. Could you roll me an insight check, please, Tanare, through your meditation? I'll allow you to do it with advantage.
Advantage. Ooh.
Wow.
20.
Didn't need it. As you're sitting there in the evening, as you're sort of starting to nod off, you're coming out of that, you realise that it's strange that all this time you've been focusing, as you said, on the passing and those final rites, but a couple of weeks in the outside world and you realise that for a lot of people, getting to the proper balance at the end is pretty difficult. Like, you've already seen so many individuals in this short month or so who you're pretty certain didn't make it to the moment where they should have been balanced. Like, there's something wrong there. They should have made it. They should have ended up coming to you or someone like you.
Doesn't sit right.
But they didn't. You know, they copped a knife to the stomach or the back, or they died of starvation, or they were killed by someone else, or just
Needless death and just, yeah.
And so, as you wake up, you make that decision, and it's almost like those skills were always there. You sort of open your eyes, and you're like,
it's just a new application of the same sort of things. I think
absolutely.
she's looking at and meditating on how to apply herself differently. So it's not that she needs to learn new skills. It's just that she needs to have a different mindset of those innate abilities and how to apply them in a way that people who aren't dying need.
So, does that give you access to level 3 spells as well, from memory?
Now that's level 5, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the next one.
Right, so I think it must just give you an extra level 2 slot. I think. Awesome.
But yeah, so I at some point whenever we do like a shopping run, just say I'd like to go out and buy some supplies for healing.
Okay. No worries. Thank you for that. And Formosus, you dry yourself and you head off to bed. What does level 4 bring for you? Now, you might not have known that you were level 4, Brendo, until you got on today. So take us through in real time. What's the plan?
So it's kind of boring, to be honest. I will be taking a bump up to charisma. That will take me to 20, which is kind of cool. I'll take a bump up in intelligence.
So you're becoming more like you are in real life.
Exactly.
Yeah, got to get those stats accurate. Allow you to work to your full capacity.
Exactly. It's hard to be able to talk the talk and then walk the walk, you know? This will help me get there.
Match. Otherwise, when you roll, you'll be like, oh, but I said it so beautifully.
So the next thing that I am currently fussing over, for lack of a better phrase, is what spell do I want? Because I get another spell slot.
Yes.
That's so good. I mean, the first one that screams out to me is Pyrotechnics.
Oh, that's such a Formosus spell.
Right?
Such a rock star thing to do.
You just create non-magical fire that you can then use to have fireworks and smoke.
Nice. That's awesome.
So I think that's a no-brainer.
Is it optimal? No. Is it magnificent?
Yes. Yeah, damn right it is.
Now,
it's
at the previous...
perfect.
Oh, sorry. At the previous level, you went with College of Glamour.
Yes.
Can you roll me an investigation check as you're getting back into your gear around your bed?
Just letting back into the sheet. Cool. Investigation. There we go. Ooh, nice. 18.
So you sort of lie back on your bed, you grab your stuff, but as you pull your little kit bag out, a little sort of yellowed white envelope sort of slips out, and it's got bright purple, looks like glitter around the outside, but when you look closer, it's not actually glitter, but it is a flare in the paper itself.
Nice.
And you turn it over, and there's a deep purple seal on it with an ornate golden G sort of coming out over the seal and sealing the letter closed. And you know what this is. This is a letter from the College of Bards.
I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. So, like a girl getting a Valentine's Day card, I throw myself onto the bed and I'm like, "Yeah, this is my moment." And I read the letter and.
Does glitter go everywhere when you open it?
Only it does, but then it disappears before it goes down. That magical doesn't get everywhere glitter. That doesn't exist in this universe. In our universe, it doesn't. Your universe, it does.
You sometimes still feel the phantom itch.
Absolutely,
you think it's on there, but the glitter itself is gone.
You open it up, expecting something, and it's blank. And you've gone from this state of excitement to a what? And you sort of look at it, but after a second it starts to glow a little bit, and you hear a whisper, "In." And then as you hear that, in really light purple workers, the word "in" with an exclamation point comes up, and then from that "in," the letter dissipates into nothing, into a wispy dust. But you know enough to know that you are now inducted into the...
Grab the towel, pat the tears that were welling up in my eyes of pure joy, and then I go to sleep. Like I'm expecting the Tooth Fairy or Santa.
Althea, you've had a big day or two.
Yep, I've had a big day or two. I've had, like, I'm used to fights. Like, I'm used to getting into scraps. It's literally her job for the last several years. But this has been something else. It's like, this has made her have to go harder than she thought was really possible for her. And use abilities that she didn't know she had, and honestly has no clue about. And so what I was planning on doing, so I've already done my leveling up, but I'll explain it for the stream, that what I was going to be doing is taking Mage Slayer, because Althea doesn't really trust the supernatural at all, and really doesn't like having to fight hostile casters. It is a really bad time. But I also figured that it's a bit soon for her to take that, because this is the first time she's fought hostile casters. And it doesn't make sense that she'd be able to immediately just go, boom, now I can just screw over hostile casters.
Yeah.
So instead, I went and took one that works really well with the monk, and really goes well with how much harder she's having to fight nowadays, and how badly beat up she's been getting, of Crusher. And what Crusher does is, okay, I'm pulling this up now,
I've
so
got it.
features and traits.
Yeah, I've got it here. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack that deals bludgeoning damage, you can move it 5 feet to an unoccupied space, provided the target is no more than one size larger than you. When you score a critical hit that deals bludgeoning damage to a creature, attack rolled against this creature are made with advantage until the start of your next turn.
Yep, and it also lets you get +1 in either Strength or Constitution. I went with Constitution because 1, it's more practical for a monk, and 2, it makes more sense as she's been getting beat the hell up.
Yeah, you need some more health pool there.
Yeah, it's like she's been on the edge of death a lot in these last couple of days, so it's like sort of getting used to the higher stakes of it all.
Alrighty.
And yeah, early in the morning, she'll probably get up to go outside and do her usual exercises, turn back, grab the mask, and yeah, and pause, put it down, click, blink it to her face. Huh. Blink, disappear, blink, face. Okay. Disappear, go out, and just start beating up a tree or something. It's like, she probably wakes up Tanari, who's asleep on the balcony. Like, if Tanari's asleep on the balcony, she probably gets woken up early in the morning by Althea beating the crap out of a tree.
It is the
Imagine like there's like this mist as well, and it's like this epic sort of like scene of you like training yourself in the morning, sunlight coming up, glaring through the mist.
In fact, that is what wakes you up, that rhythmic boom on the wood. But what really gets you to sit up and look over the balcony is this old voice that says, excuse me, what are you doing? That elm's been there for 117 years. What did it ever do to you? Get off this! That is a tree, it's not for punching! And you realise that you've popped over into the last roadhouse across the road, and you've been punching one of their old trees, and they shoo you off into a different field where you'll be able to punch a tree.
Yep.
Myself.
Just sure.
And you sort of look back, and there's one or two of them there, sort of looking at it, checking the damage, checking sap, and just generally soothing the tree. And
Yeah.
Remy.
I thought a lot about it during the week. The easiest thing for a lot of what to improve what he does, as far as leveling up, is just to put it in Dex. But I think I'll leave that for later. It's good because it's initiative, it's armor class, and it's also his 2 hit and damage rolls for almost everything he does. He also likes being stealthy. He's already tried picking locks this last session, and even picking pockets. He tried it and failed it. So he's been practicing dex enough to warrant going up in dex, but I'll leave it for a future ASI and do one that, something a bit more colourful. So I'm not just a dealer of damage and a hitter of things. Crossbow expert, I think someone mentioned that last time because it's very handy because I can throw daggers from point blank range. But I'm passing it by. Mobile would be great because when you attack someone with melee, as long as you've attacked them, you can then move back. So if I get in melee, I just attack them once and then I move back and have any other attacks I have from range without getting a struck at. But really, I wanted to sort of this. I don't know whether I'm going to multi-class in the future or not. I'm thinking either I make a pact with somebody cool, and take a warlock class, or just manifest some sort of fey magic within and take a sorcerer class, or both, or be sorcerer at level 8 and then take a pact with someone because I've manifested at level 12 or something along those lines. That's a long way in the past, in the future. So to keep it simple, I was thinking maybe just a feat that just go up as a fighter and for now, but take a feat that sort of echoes that theme. So I'm interested in either ritual caster because then I can manifest a fey creature. I know it's a animal, but because you can then do, what is it, Find Familiar as a first level spell?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. You learn spells and you have a book. So I don't have a book, so we have to build that in somehow. Magic Initiate's another option because you pick a first level spell and you just learn it, and you also get a couple of cantrips. And again, this could be reflected as a fey thing.
Now you've already made this decision, haven't you? That you're talking through here, Anthony. Because I'm just looking at your character sheet. Then, yeah.
I was explaining my thought process.
Yeah. Figured as much. I just can't wait till you get to the decision because I like it.
Right. So
if you need to make contacts with the Fae, I know many.
I've made some fairly heavy Fae contact. I spent time in a bubble, and yeah. So what I'm going to do is say somehow all this contact with this Fae palaver. Now, it doesn't look Fae at all. It doesn't look like he fits.
We can work with that. It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine.
He'd be hulking along with all of these, pixies and fairies and sprites.
Believe it or not, there are people that think the Formosus isn't Fae. I don't know where they get this info from. I know, right?
Crazy talk. So somehow, it's not overnight, but this is where it's going to come, is I've had so much contact and also been willing to make contact. I've been sculling all the drinks I've been offered. Sipping, I'm not a tea person, but whenever I get offered some, I'm going, yeah, give me some of that good gear. In the back of the wagon, I think it was.
You've actually had 7 cups of tea, and everybody else has had a maximum of 6.
Yeah, okay, so I've been knocking it back and getting stuck into it, jumping into bubbles. So I'm going to take Fey Touched. And, so one of my abilities goes up, Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma. Not that I really use any of those, but I'm going to take an ability score in those. And I get 1 first level spell, and I can bamf once a day. So I'll be going down the stairs for breakfast in the morning, and in a real rush because I'm so hungry, and I'm just thinking about getting to the bottom of the stairs, and poof, I'm at the bottom of the stairs. I go, oh, what the hell? And I managed to give myself a leg up mentally, and went into the Feywild and then reappeared 30 feet down the bottom of the staircase, much to my surprise. But I've been having, I've been having dreams about it all night, and that's what I'm going to take.
Awesome.
Nice.
And
Love it.
You find you don't sleep particularly well, Remy, and you sort of wake up in the night and you walk out across and onto the balcony and you look out over the field where those Hagnon ran off, and you remember them just shooting off and everyone having to run to chase them, and you're sure, you watch the way they moved, you watch that battle, and you're sure there's a better way to stay in touch with creatures that go that fast. But you look at them and you go, like, it's literally a rabbit person. You're not going to be able to do it by just training your eyes and training your eyes. And it's sort of, you're not sure whether you're awake or asleep, whether this is a dream or you're actually standing on the balcony, but it's at that stage where you realize that if you draw in on their essence, you'd be able to, probably once or twice a day, you'd be able to draw in and sort of grab onto their essence and maybe aim at them or find them a little easier. And you're sort of just looking out and you sort of almost like you see that rabbit running across into the forest. And
so I can mentally apply a magical tracer.
That's exactly right. Like a mark of the hunter, if you will.
Oh, yes.
Wow, yeah.
Okay.
And with that, you open your eyes and it's morning and you're in your bed.
All right. What a great night. I'm going to go down for brekkie. Well, I'm already there.
Yeah, exactly right. You're like, whoa, hello.
Just like, I could use some breakfast. Hi.
And
sent to the kitchen.
It's not it's not too long after you come back in from your episode with the tree where a fairly wide-eyed, startled Remy just sort of wanders in and sees you and makes a beeline over to to the table, to the booth where you're sitting. Probably this one, I imagine. There's not many other people in there, and you can sit there out of sight but still be nice and close to the bar should you want some breakfast.
Yeah, prime location.
One other thing you can do when you get an ASI is, as a battle master, if you have what are they called? Maneuvers. You can swap one maneuver out for another, so you can slowly shift your character over time.
Yep.
And I'm just shifting Riposte for Brace. They're quite similar, but.
Oh, yes. While I remember, I also activated the optional perks.
Yeah.
Because I remember during session 0 proper, we said that it would be okay for me to use the optional feats, but I forgot to actually activate them.
Yeah, it's all good.
So yeah, I've activated them now. So. Yeah, it's like, so now I can actually use key to do a single unarmed strike as a bonus action if I've done something that wasn't attack as an action.
Yep.
And stuff like that.
Yeah. Some of those extra feats that came up, that was in Tasha's they came up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those are really cool.
And I could also pick up a weapon that I'm proficient in, provided it's not a heavy or... Yeah, so long as it doesn't have the heavy or special properties, and make it a monk weapon.
Nice.
So, it's like, if I find a normal spear on the ground, and it's not like one that's been modified for use in like martial arts and everything, I can pick it up and go, okay, nope, I can work with this, basically.
Yeah, which makes sense,
I
really.
actually have a martial artist quarterstaff.
Nice.
Like, you remember I stole it from the
Yeah!
It was actually a martial artist who died that I was like helping.
I thought you were out of character for a second there, but now I remember that happening in character. Never mind. I was just completely on the wrong part of reality.
I do actually have a quarterstaff in real life too, but
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, but I'm assuming you didn't steal it from a dead person. I mean, come on, folks, everyone's got a quarterstaff. Anybody who's sitting at this table playing a game like this, like, if you don't have a quarterstaff, I'll be like, well, what do you have instead then?
A flamberge.
I have axes. I do not have quarterstaffs, but I do have a lot of axes.
There we go.
I have a saber, a German longsword, an arming sword.
Nice. Side.
and a buckler.
Wow. Side taunt for a nunchuck for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
like
act-
actual ones. That doesn't include the LARP weapons.
Yeah, no, I'm on real ones too. I don't do LARP. And I was sort of told by the girl in the other room fairly clearly that that's probably a nerd too far for the moment.
You're telling me there's a chance.
Oh, 100%. It's
For the moment.
It's whether I can weather the bullying when I get home and before I leave and while I'm making costume.
No, you just get her into it
You
as
know,
well.
the making costume bit takes over the whole of your life, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, don't remind me. I still need to get my gloves and mask made up for that.
Yes. I'm probably in the part of my life at the moment where I need to be doing less rather than more. But anyway, that's not where the party find themselves. So over the next hour or so, everybody finds themselves at the table, munching on some breakfast and a little bit refreshed, probably ready to talk about what the actual crap has happened over the past couple of days.
Yeah, so, everyone, like, it's been a couple of days, hasn't it? It's like, do we just want to go over and try to work out exactly what the hell's been happening ever since we all met each other? Because it's been a lot.
It's been a lot.
Almost is just eating. I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you mean? For as far as I know, this was just
This is an
Just
average
the
day
thing.
in Phobos' life.
I mean, I performed. We beat up some bad guys. What's the worst that's happened? I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Roll
you're
a
probably used to this.
roll a deception or a persuasion check for Moses.
I believe every word.
Perception, if that's what Formosus thinks. Persuasion, if you're trying to make it feel like you make it feel like this is not as hardcore as you thought.
Exactly right. This is nothing. This is just man.
Yeah. You're all, Althea included. You're like, wait a minute, this is Formosus. He spins a great tale, and you look, and you're like, holy crap. And really, like, Formosus hasn't even been. Like, he's like, yeah, made friends with a drunk dragon, fought a couple of dominated people. There's magic rabbits in the forest. Dude, I'm Fae. What do you expect?
Yep. Three of my mates almost died. Well, I managed to just BS my way through it completely unharmed.
In Formosus' sides, there's either dead or not.
Yeah.
So being wounded is just meh, a minor inconvenience. And you always get beaten up. Tanare is a boss, and she'll never die.
It's binary.
And Remy's too
Yeah,
quick
yeah.
to die, so he's just like,
Although,
You're too beautiful to die.
I'm too fabulous to die.
Remy, you make a note of getting in somehow, either by asking or convincing or nicking, to find out what the hell's written in the notes for Formosus' songs, because if this didn't rattle him, he's got to have some awesome material going on.
Yep. Have to.
I'm just like,
We'll
and
get
I'm
the
just
lyrics.
like, I'm not gonna question what's happened in your life. I'm probably gonna find out. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna end up finding out, aren't I? Oh well. So yeah. Rabbits in the forest. Check. Do we have anything to follow up on that?
Yes. Yes, they asked you to come and find them at Warren Glen.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
They did.
We were invited to
Okay.
their home.
Oh yeah, I thought that was more about if you're ever in the woods.
It sort of was, but
It was
this...
perhaps they requested us there a little bit more meaningfully than.
Oh, that's okay.
It's
That
prob-
went over my head.
It's probably more that there's some
That's
hickey
right.
stuff going on where there is a bit of a Fae bleed going on, and it doesn't take a D20 roll to find out, to realise that having the Fae actually here in the not Fae, it's probably not ideal.
Okay.
And if you roll a history check for me, all y'all.
History. History.
Ooh.
16.
For Moses, you would know that not only is it not ideal, it's definitely not something that's supposed to be able to happen here. You're not sure how you're not in the Fae. You haven't been able to go back there, yet all of a sudden Fae are able to get here. You popped into the Fae. That's not something you've ever actually been able to do. You're from there, but
I just woke up one morning and I was out and I was like, well, it's time. But this is just it. It's time for me to go.
yet all of a sudden there's ways into the Fae. You've now, remember, at your age, have been to the Fae or to a Fae demiplane, and you're just like, that's not what this world, what this place, what Vendalia is. So just in the back of your mind there, you're like, it's probably worth following up.
100%. Especially if other people are potentially going to be moving in on my gig.
100%. Like you look across, and that big knife throwing dude is looking sparklier and sparklier.
I mean, that's fine because he's part of my act. I'm talking about these funky lizard folk, rabbit folk coming out of nowhere with their twinkle toes. Nuh-uh.
Oh.
I think
Jump out of a hat. Don't
Got
worry.
a gatecrasher.
Remy's got a bit of
Yeah.
a familiar hanging out in the background there.
Yes. More familiars.
If they want in, they need to be backup dancers.
Yeah. In sync.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Anyway. By melody.
Did you just take
Allow me.
Did you just take a note there about Brendo?
Oh, I did.
Awesome. All right. And so, yeah, you talk about for a while the fact that there's probably something to look up there, but, as you talk, you realise that's not all that's going on.
Yeah, it's like we've got mind-controlling mages going around screwing with stuff who we can't get to right now, so until we manage to make some sort of alliances or get stronger, we can't deal with that.
Yeah, there was
So-
two that got away, that teleported away.
Yeah,
And they're ensconced in that sort of elite warrior enclave or something.
And you just you've just sort of switched past the Fae discussion, where the front door opens and in walks the same slow gait you always see, sort of like poof, door opens, pause for effect, look around, and Alfia, you notice it straight away. Darrow always does this when he walks into a place. Like when he walks into the pit, it's boom, stand, 2, 3, look. You never walk straight to the place. He sort of curves into the middle of the ring. You notice that he does it.
Exactly 2.5 second pause as he looks left and right, then left, then forward.
And it's at this moment you realise how you actually beat him. This dude follows a routine. And you've just done it so many times that you had it out there. But now you're realising that he does the same thing in any public place. When he comes into a bar, he does the same thing, and he sort of does that 2.5 second look around, catches you out of the corner of his eye, finishes the look around, and then sort of meanders around the table up here to come in where you all will see him. And he sort of grabs a chair and sits down in the front, and he goes, "So, I guess we've got some stuff to talk about."
Yeah, Darrow, you're getting predictable, that's what.
Oh, what are you talking about?
You don't see it? Come on, please, everyone tell me you saw. Darrow, you've got a routine.
He sort of looks at you for a second, he's like,
Nara's not even paying attention. She's like in her own.
"Everybody has a routine, Alfia."
Slam open door, left, right, left, forward, in the space of 2.5 seconds exactly. Step forward, loop around.
Speaking of backing dancers.
Scenic route around to where you're going.
I wondered whether that's why you got me. Everybody has to have their moves set. Anyway, more important things that matter at the moment.
That's probably why you're always a bit more popular than me.
Well, you can have that one for free.
Shit, I've got to get a routine now.
What are we gonna do about whatever the heck that was?
How are you feeling, Darrow? You okay?
It was a bit
Is-
It was a bit foggy there for a while. Last thing I remember was you guys yelling at me.
Yeah, there was some yelling.
I'm Alfia now. Um, yeah, and then I woke up with a headache, and they tell me that the Maze Lord was under someone's control, and half of the people in the maze were under someone else's control, but now they're not, and that you guys sorted it all. So well done on that.
Yeah, I guess we're big damn heroes now.
No, they didn't hurt you too much, did they?
No, they just put me in a box. A big box, thankfully. It was comfortable. I stayed down there in their dorms last night. I think we're sorted out there, but there's definitely a buzz. Surprised that the Maze Lords could be, I don't know, infiltrated, especially so easily. Well, not easily, but powerfully.
I suspect it was yeah, it was not by ordinary means.
What do
Yeah, it was an inside job.
do you know anything about these?
Very inside.
You know anything about these mages? About oh, where's my thing? Got the wrong names on that one. About Selen, Elma, Selen, and Ren. Alma had been in the Alma had been in the maze for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, they're. From what we understand, we think they're hiding out with the Lance now.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Lance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seems like there's.
I thought that patrols had gone up recently. I reckon it wasn't just my imagination.
It's funny. Ren walked like a lance. He hit it, but not well enough. It's just connected now. So
You reckon plants?
can't be that simple.
But it could.
Listen,
And, well, either way, the reasoning behind it is a bit shaky right now, because the fact is that they're hiding out with the Lance, and we can't take that on as we are. Like, we at least need friends.
I'm heading back into the city this morning. I'll tap my eyes in the city. I might head back to the Rat's Maze to lick my wounds. So tell me, how is Jackie? Have you seen her?
Yeah, she's doing good. Yeah. She's doing good. All of the kids are doing as good as we can expect.
Look, in the short term, it looks as though that problem is going to resolve itself. I'm going to drop a healthy bag of yellow-coloured metal to Jackie to do the usual distribution, which should cover the drought over the last few months.
Yeah, I made sure to give them enough small stuff to break it all up with and everything. So, they could probably get away with a gold coin here or there at the moment.
I'll drop some of this in the second box, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just one
But,
second.
what I'm interested in is... what now? Like, you three got any ideas on what now? It's like, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but it seems like our best way of... No, I really can't believe I'm about to say this. It seems like the best way for us to try and figure out what's going on and get the allies and power that we need is going to be dealing with Formosus' world.
Oh.
That
You
sounds
mean-
awesome. I want to get out of the city too.
Darrow says, remember those kooky story walkers over the road? More than happy to capture the news of further afield if that's what you're doing. I don't abide in much myself. Outside's never going to be my thing, but the more I look at you four, the more likely I think it is that you're fixing to travel.
Yeah.
Tanaro, what were you going to say?
I was just being silly, and when you said his world, I said musical theatre.
Look, I know a lot of people in musical theatre, and they are always ready to throw down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fabulous. They are fabulous.
Formosus, remember that you haven't been to 16B Downwayne Alley yet, so who knows? It's possible that musical theatre awaits you there.
That is true. I was promised.
Yeah, definitely.
The Maze Lord would not lie to me. He has no reason to lie to me.
Oh no, that wasn't written by the Maze Lord.
Who told me that?
That was the note I left in your pocket.
You
That
don't
was the mysterious
know
note.
who left that there.
You don't know, yeah. When you were drunk, passed out on the steps of the tavern, you woke up with a note with the offer for a...
Don't tell me who then, because Brendan, I remember as being the Maze Lord, which makes that even more hilarious, because that's what Formosus would think.
Nice.
Oh no.
Next time you get it out, remind me, and you can roll an insight check on the handwriting.
He doesn't know my handwriting.
He doesn't now, but next time he thinks of it and mentions that, he might have learnt it.
If I make enough maps.
You are showing your maps off a fair bit.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, Darrow sort of chuckles along for a little while and says, "Yeah, that crowd, the Lonely Road. It's probably."
I walk a lonely road.
Every time I see it, I think that.
There's a party name.
The only road that I've ever known.
And he said, they call that place across the way the end of the road, so it's supposed to be where all the information goes.
And beyond. You put that on the end of
And,
that.
well, now that I know that you're well and truly in the loop, Darrow, it's like I'm confident that I'll be able to leave this place in good hands.
I'll keep an eye on it. If I hear anything, I'll send word. You know where to find me.
Yeah, and you know my markers for if I send anything down this way. For everyone.
Maze is a big place, and he sort of tips his eye to you all, and off he goes.
I'm going to have another swig, and say I'm hankering to get out of town. So if these Harangon are more than just offering for us to stop in for a visit, if they've got something for us to do, then that would be great. Otherwise, I don't know what we can do, what to do next.
I reckon we put some of this gold to use first. Pick up some supplies,
Yeah,
and then check in on the rabbits.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, there's a few things I'd like to buy. If we can get them here. This isn't we're not like in the city, right?
Yeah. I've got like an ongoing list of things that I want, but first priority for me is gonna be a cartographer, some cartographer's tools and a herbalism kit.
Herbalism kit. Hold on, I need my notes for this one because the online one doesn't have the list. There we go. The cartographer's kit you'll probably need to go to the Sedendria Central Markets for.
And would I know roughly how much they go for in those markets? Actually, I probably would, because I've been eyeing both of these kits off for a long time.
Yeah, the herbalism one you reckon you'll probably do better in the trades meet. Actually, roll me an insight check, just quickly, and I'll see how you do. Yeah, so you're actually able to get you're actually able to get them both at the normal player's handbook price in the trades meet. You actually find the cartographer's kit in before you even get into the trades meet in the guild yard. So that's 12 and 13 on this big map here. So 12 is the guild yard, which is where all the guild's members ply their work, and then number 13 over here is trades meet, and that's where.
Yeah. And those are probably also good spaces for Tanari to get a healer's kit.
Absolutely. Yeah. The only other place that you could think about for the healer's stuff, and I would say Tanare, this is probably you that would do that rather than going to the trades meet. You would think of this one. It's up. I think it was up here, isn't it? What number is that?
Wait, what?
Ding! Up in the top right, almost out of the image there, because I need to center it. That's better.
Is there a temple to Fashir nearby? Somewhere like that?
11. This is a temple to Saban. I can't read my own writing here. Where's my sense of direction? 17. Shrine to the Shepherd of Life. So that's the Shrine to the Shepherd of Life by the look of it. And this is the temple to Saban, and you find along this little walk hidden in the trees, and there's a couple most of the shrines to the deities that are of this world. For Shia, though,
preferably like a smaller temple to Fashir, not like a major.
It's probably not the place that would have a full temple to many of the others, particularly because Saban's fairly open and you'll find that most of them are in there. But if after asking around a bit and looking, you start walking out along this road a little bit and you pop into about here, and there's a little hidden and secluded sort of area where you can see just a little altar out in the open, covered from the rain, of a robed, tall individual facing away into the bushes but looking down over the shoulder. When you eventually, though, get out to the... where's it gone? The Shrine to the Shepherd of Life here. It's a little hut. And in that little hut is an older individual sitting, and when they see you, they sort of look up, and you can see that they're completely blind in one eye and not particularly sighted in the other, and you sense immediately that they're not far from meeting the balance.
Yeah, okay.
And as you come up and stand back, they say, come, child.
Okay.
You seek something.
So, yeah. I will sort of do a little bit of a, like a bow kind of thing of respect and greeting, and go to where they sort of indicate and ask. I wonder if you've heard news of the Isles of Fashir, the monastery there.
You walk as one who knows the balance. I have not made the pilgrimage. I merely hold the light of Fashir in a place where many other lights shine brighter.
Every light adds to the brighter.
My light is dimming, although I do not think that is why you are here.
I am practiced, I can help. if you wish help making the final journey, if you need help with the balance. But as for me, what I seek, I feel that there is there's something wrong with the greater balance, with the world, with the way things are. Something is stirring that shouldn't be, or perhaps someone is pushing where they should be pulling, and I think there are secret events happening that perhaps started at the temples.
I don't know about that, but I've lived long, and it would appear that there's always someone pushing or someone pulling. But if you're here, I suspect that you might be somebody who needs to try and find the answer.
Yeah.
Am I ready for the balance? I feel like I am. And did you just sort of feel this switch? Like they've thought about it, they've given what they know, and then that sort of curiosity, and you felt this before. It's that longing. Is like, okay, well, this is somebody who knows. Can I ask? Can I ask? Can I ask?
Mm. Yeah.
And you sense that this individual's got a few months and sort of knows it.
Okay.
But it feels in balance. You feel like they are actually ready to face the balance as much as you would ever be. And you can see like that they're blind in one eye, their whole right side as well is starting to be a little bit paralyzed. The odds of them being able to walk or get themselves to the Stormbreak Islands is... Well, it would be difficult for them if everything were going well, but you strongly suspect that that's probably not the case. You could try and run a ritual of the balance and see if they're ready.
I was just going to say, if she wants, I can sit with you, meditate. We can go through a few rituals to see where you are on the scale. And I'll like pull out just automatically start pulling out some incense and the little what are those things called that you put incense in that you swing?
Censers.
Censers, yeah. So start kind of just almost like, this is my element. This is something I've done for my entire life. I can do it without thinking, so I'm just starting to sort of on autopilot pull out things and set things up without really even waiting for a reply.
Okay, so you do that, and this person sort of follows and watches what you're doing intently, and you sense that they know some of what's going on. They expect some of it. Some of it's new, and you see them like, oh, that's interesting. How you doing, Rudolph Mervo? And then follows along and knows where to sit and how to engage in the ritual.
Yeah.
Would you roll me 3 religion checks, please?
3.
3.
Everything's in 3s. 15. Oh my god, my rolling is terrible. Okay. So it was what, 15, 11, and 18.
All over. So you sit there for about 20 minutes. You ask a few questions. You learn of them what little you can in this amount of time, and you sense that while they're not ready to meet the actual balance yet, you think, and you can sort of intone as much, you don't want to go into too much detail if you're running a balance ritual, but until they actually go through the actual rite at their own death. Let me say, so I need to see direct soul to that next usage in the planes. So you would say that they would ascend rather than descend, which is vague language that you would use, but in terms of the balance that they would have what most people would say to have passed. You as a shepherd yourself, it's not about passing or failing, it's about your next role in the multi-planes. Although you've heard talk from the more seniors when you'd sat listening into their meetings, which you all aren't supposed to do but obviously do, that it seems less about a multifaceted choice anymore, and it's more about moving into the shadow of Saban, or out into the gathering dark that is the influence of Zanuck, and probably, as far as you can tell, destruction.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that kind of already answers a lot of what I was gonna bring up. But yeah, I was hoping to roll better as well.
Well, just so you know, the way that I'm running Ritual of the Balance, because we haven't talked about this before, is essentially the pilgrim rolls 1d20, and then you roll 3 religion rolls. If all of the rolls are above their roll, and this is sort of dependent on like somebody like this that you don't really know, all of your rolls are above their rolls, it gives you probably more insight and suggests that they're above. If all of the rolls are below, that's how the balance would work. And I'll adjust the DC either by rolling or rolling with a bonus. So with this person, I haven't put a bonus because there's no particular greater good or evil that they've done which affects it. And so they roll once, you then roll 3. If it's 1 above, 2 below, or vice versa, it would be less clear. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
But with 3 above, you can tell them they're ready with fair certainty that at least one way or the other they're going to be prepared for whatever they hear.
I can so when we're sort of through with that, I will, I don't know how to word this, but I gleaned that you are ready. The balance is in your favor. I sense your time is near, but not quite immediate. While I'm here, if you would like, I can assist you through the final stages and take care of your physical and spiritual self.
They smile and say, "Child, you've already done for me everything that I need." And you sort of look around and you recognise that they have the means to do those parts of the ritual. It's the knowledge and the shepherding that they were missing. So they sort of smile, and you can feel them sort of that tension in the air sort of dissipate a little bit. And as you clean things up slowly, they jump back up on their little seat and they sort of open up their little card again and said, "As I said, though, that's not why you came here. What is it that I can help you with?"
It's very difficult. I feel uprooted. I've always felt my duty and place so strongly in the world, and so confident. I know my place amongst rituals, amongst temples and incense and words and comfort and the dying, but this world of the living is a whole other game. It's wild and confusing and fast. Everything happens so quickly. I don't know where I belong. And I guess I came here hoping for guidance, some idea of what my new life is, what my role is. I can't go back. You can't go back to the past.
Child, do you use a focus for your gift, for your calling?
Yes, I have my. I pull out, just like on my belt, a little I don't. What is the symbol of Feshir? I can't remember.
Nor can I actually. I did open it up there.
I play a priestess in another game, and I must admit I sometimes get the two characters mixed up.
Feshir. I haven't really set it out there, so it's some of them will have specific stuff that I haven't worked out. With Feshir, in my mind, it was that there is a few things, but it's not something that's well known. So there'd be a few, stronger archetypes. So I'll let you approach that as you please.
Well, if I can do something maybe a little bit, feel free to say no. But if possible, it would be really cool if she has subdermal implants.
Mm-hmm.
So something like that that's like kind of embedded in her skin as part of her around like a wrist or arm that is part of like a ritual scarification kind of thing that can be her focus.
Okay, so do you show the individual?
I will actually because Tanari has like an undershirt that goes all the way up and then little gloves.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll with her fingers exposed so she can still do touch spells. So she peels them up and just rolls sort of delicately this down, and you see this kind of like an abstract form that is a raised bumps of her skin, but sort of around that there's all these tiny dots in different patterns of tiny little scars, some big, some small. That is not the pattern of Feshir, but it sort of surrounds that logo or the emblem.
So Tyrell, now you've learnt the individual's name obviously through the ritual. So Teal sort of gently takes your hand and turns it over, and then she looks at you and she says, "From what you've said, you're considering the inadequacies of the shepherds to fully express the enormity of the wider world. Would that be right?"
Yes, there's more. The world is greater and more complex than all of the philosophies would say.
Those philosophies are incomplete with a purpose, as I'm sure you're coming to realize. But if you are indeed going to remove yourself from the cloister for a time, I may be able to provide some insight. And she takes your hand and she pulls out what appears to be a long red feather, but at the bottom of it you can see that it's actually made of some sort of much harder sort of red thing. It looks like a feather, but to all intents, and it is, the outside is a feather, really sort of bright red, but as it goes in it becomes blood red, and it's a very sharp needle point. And she says, and you see that and you expect to be revulsed and to move away, because you sense that she's going to adjust what's happening to your arm, but you don't feel that revulsion. And she takes it and she lightly draws it around and between some of the raised scarifications, making a slightly different sort of ringing that comes up in a light red. It's almost like it scratches up, but it's also sort of like a weird cross between henna and a tattoo-y type setup, just as she drags it lightly across and you feel it. And she said, "This will not last indefinitely, but any provincial provider of Fashir's blessing," and she sort of points at her wares, and there's some healing potions, and it looks like the kind of stuff that you would use on a day-to-day basis, which you're starting to realise wouldn't be as accessible out here and is probably a little different, so they use different approaches to get a similar effect. She sort of explains that if you find the right people, there's people who are able to redo this, and if it works for you, you could make it more permanent. But essentially, and I'm sort of purposefully not describing it now because I get the impression that this is something that you can design and show to us once you've worked out exactly what it is. For the initial focus, but also what she then does. But my idea would be it's more of a red ring or circle around the main part of what the original focus would be, symbolising that idea that there's more on the outside, which the shepherd sort of tries to keep apart sometimes just to really get in on the balance. But if they go outside, there's more that's needed.
Yeah. That's great.
And you feel straight away that you could probably adjust more easily what you're doing with that. Okay.
So yeah, I'll say thank you, and I will have much money because I didn't take money, did I? Oh no, I did have.
Yeah, I think you took it. You took it at the end, so.
Alright, that's right. I refused it at first, but then okay. Inventory. I will give her. Is it right that I can get supplies here as well?
Yeah,
Like the
absolutely.
healing stuff?
Yeah. And for you, like, it would probably be easier and cheaper for you to do it here.
Yeah. So after all this, I imagine there's like a little offering bowl type thing at the temple.
Yep.
So I will put 10 gold in the offering bowl, but also when I grab her hand and to say goodbye at that final parting, we'll give her 2 silver for I'll say for the final moments, and I will bless those coins.
Mm-hmm. And she sort of thanks you. As you turn to go, she says, wait, and she gives you a healing. You get a healing potion, so she gives you a healing potion. Normally, you'd find that if you wanted to buy healing potions, they'd be about 30 to 40 gold here, depending on your persuasion, whereas I think they're 50 gold in the player's handbook, aren't they?
Yep, 50 gold.
So, Tanare, you'll be able to get healing potions here a little bit cheaper, but that first one you get for the 10 gold. Alfia, were you buying healing potions as well?
I wasn't buying healing potions. I've done a little bit of a shopping trip while that was going on. You know, get my crap out of the way while someone's actually doing something important.
Aye.
So I've bought the cartographer's tools and herbalist kit. I have also bought 10 sheets of parchment, one of which is going to immediately be used for a map of the city and surrounding areas. That one I would know textbook by now. I mean, part of it is my feet says I know city textbook.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I also bought a 1 ounce ink bottle and a ink pen, so I can properly ink in my finalized maps. Make them actually good and up to standard, so they can be properly replicated and sold potentially. What else? I did a bit of shopping. I think those are the main things I've bought. And I'm down to 12 gold and 8 silver after all of that. I was going to get a book, but they're 25 gold. So, oof.
What kind of book were you looking for?
A plain book. Just a empty blank book.
No worries.
Yeah, one that I can keep track of notes on the properties of different herbs, everything. And
I would
once
say
I've done
I would say in a herbalist kit there'd be like a little mini book where you could take brief notes to get enough for that.
Okay. And if I've got time after that, I'd return to the inn, because I'm assuming that's where we're meeting up after doing all of our stuff. And I would spend some time, drawing out that map and inking it in. And then I would start pulling out some of the collection of tea and separating out different herbs and leaves that are included in those teas, and sort of experiment on them a bit to work out which ones are providing which properties.
Now, did you roll high enough from Racon after the fight to get the recipe for the healing tea?
No. But I'm pretty certain I can work it out now.
The roll will be higher without it.
Yeah. I don't remember getting the recipe. I'll double check my notes.
Actually, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we even got to that roll.
No, we didn't.
So I might just retcon us back there quickly. Bear with me one
Yeah.
moment, because there was actually some stuff that you could have collected, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I'm happy to just roll for it. If we want to keep things moving, because I know we've got 2 other players who are waiting to get stuff done.
Yeah. Okay. Give us a roll. How long do you think that we'll all be sitting? No, that we'll be around. Is this just a 1-day thing, and then we're going to start making a move? That's sort of what I've assumed.
That's what I thought it was. It was just like a day of
that's
stocking
what I
up and
thought.
getting info we needed and then heading out.
So by the time that you've been through and you found out the right place to get everything Althea, you only really have a couple of hours to work on it, and you sort of make some progress, and it'll bring the DC down next time, but you haven't really cracked it yet.
Yeah, with a couple of hours, it's more likely that I haven't been able to do anything with that, and I spent all of that going through all of my notes on the city and drawing out a quite accurate map of the city.
Right, so it is.
And quickly inking it in.
It is my intention to break down and do some of the key districts here, like in a zoomed in sort of map for district by district, but it's just about getting time and motivation at the same time, which didn't happen much over the holidays.
Yeah, but I can make a note. I can remove one of the pieces of parchment I've got and add a custom item of map of city. Well, I forgot the name of the city.
Sedendria.
Yeah.
Excellent. Sedendria.
Sedendria. I thought that was the part of the continent we were at, not just the city.
Sort of is. There's a bit of overlap and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so map of Sedendria City.
And I'll just write it in chat there again. So Sedendria. And so you'll be able to find that if you pop into... where has it gone? I've zoomed this up too big.
Session 0 engagement?
Session 0 documents. You'll actually see the map there. So you can just access that directly if you don't want to go into Roll20.
Yeah.
And if there's anybody actually watching and you want to see some of the maps that we're using and some of the other stuff that we've homebrewed, just jump into our Discord, which I think I've got a permanent link on the Twitch page now, and go into Session 0 documents. Help yourself to any of that stuff. I think there is still actually, and this is one of the reasons I'm glad you're saying you want to leave the town. We still have that first setup that we were doing. The first competition we had with the chat, where they were making their own mini boss. Once we get out on the road, I'll actually be able to roll on random tables, and we'll be able to start looking at whether we hit the chat made box. There's so many different bings. I don't know what that bing was. Oh well, doesn't matter. It'll come up eventually, I'm sure. Yep, I think my computer's falling apart. Oh well, whatever. So that's Tanare and Althea. Formosus, Remy, were either of you going to head into the city and do any purchasing?
I am. The paradox that is Remy, he's going to get a shield and thieves' tools.
Oh, I have a shield you can have.
Oh, do you? Even better. I need to come up with some sort of device. Apparently, knightly types that have shields have a picture on the front.
Uh-huh.
But
I see.
Got no idea what to put on it yet.
What's on the front of you, the one that you're giving him, Tanare?
Oh,
If anything.
no, I think it's some like obscure martial, like historical symbol that, because she just got it from like it was like a training sort of shield, not like something that she's used in proper combat, but just like around like in temple martial arts kind of thing. She's it was like just her training shield kind of thing, so real basic. but like some
Right.
obscure thing on it that she has no idea what it actually means. It's just like a hand-me-down kind of thing.
All right, no
So you
worries.
can have it like whatever you
It
want
can
it
be
to be,
neat.
really.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'll come up with something during the week. But so a decent
I'll
shield.
remove that from my. I'll remove that from my stuff then.
Happy days.
All right. Thieve tools. You sort of make your way into the rat's maze, and to the hung vagrant's toenail. You know enough people there now where you get directions and you find your way with a little bit of guidance from Alfia before you leave to a little sort of corner in an alleyway. And there's a sort of an individual sitting there, like not super old, but not doing particularly well at all, missing a few teeth. And as you walk down, you see them sort of move back into the shadows a bit, and you sort of recognise that this is the person you want to talk to, and walk up to them. And they sort of stare out of their robes. What do you want?
I'm looking for a set of keys.
Did you wash
Hoping
your?
hoping he'll get the inference.
Did you wash your clothes?
I washed my clothes. I washed my toes. Washed all the blood off my hands.
You want keys to get into the door that's not yours?
Hey, that's you. We're on the same wavelength, my friend. My friend. I'll try and change my voice a bit.
Who told you I was here?
The pale ghost.
Do I know this?
Yeah, you know. The pale ghost.
Okay. The pale ghost who walks in the alleys.
Come closer. Bam! Straight on the head. Don't say people's name out loud.
Got him.
Come closer. And then just sort of holds up the kit. And it's a leather pouch, and you can see there's little keys, little bits of little bars.
I'll unwrap it, showing my familiarity, and just pass my hand over all the tools.
And you'd have also seen Alfia's, so you know exactly what to look for.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm trained in their use. Have a look at the mirror. Pliers. I can come up with many uses for these, and I'll say, okay. 20 gold.
He looks at you and says, I cut some fucker's finger off with one of them once.
I'm sure you did.
Roll a perception check when you say 20 gold.
16.
Hold on.
Just for your benefit, that's below player's handbook price.
Yeah, but literally you see his eyes go wide. It's like, deal.
Okay. All right.
He may have used a different kit to get this kit.
He might have stolen it off a dead guy who he snipped his finger off.
20 gold's like a month's freaking good living in the rat's
That-
maze.
It's like, that is a year's wages for a commoner.
Yeah. You guys don't run into commoners, though, do you know what I mean? Anyone you're likely to buy this kind of stuff before doesn't qualify as a commoner. But that's definitely, like, even for this individual whose name you didn't ask, because I haven't thought of it yet, and probably wouldn't tell you, they'd tell you to come closer again.
It's like, evidence, like, that 20 gold that you just spent is probably about as much money as you would have seen in a year while you were on the farm.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yeah, more than that. We trade in goats at the local market.
So he stands up to about, it's about half a foot higher than he always was, with a big bend. So starts picking stuff up while you're still there, and then just turns around and heads back towards the vagrant's toenail. A good proportion of that's going to get drunk and eaten, and not all of it, but enough for it to feel like a nice night. That's a good win. That's enough business for one day.
Okay. Are we splitting up these healing potions? Or are you keeping them all, Alfia?
I currently have them all, but I'm happy to divvy them up.
Okay.
How many do you have in total?
There was 8.
8. Althea, I would suggest it will probably take you one of them to reverse engineer to be able to roll on it. It'll only be once. It won't be each time you try. But if once you use one of them, rather than healing with it, although you'll be able to heal with it as well at the time. But once you've used it, you'll get a better idea of what goes into making them.
Yeah, I'll be able to tell from some of the taste what's in it as well.
Exactly. So if you're going to divvy 7 for use, but that one you'll probably want to knock off as being used to work out how to do it.
Yeah, we'll go 2 each.
Oh dear.
Yeah, 2 each. There's 4 of us. We've got 8. 2 each, and me experimenting on one of them. That's my personal thing to do. So it's coming out of my personal too.
Yeah. To be fair, I think anyone who has one of these is most likely going to be using it, pouring it down someone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually what tends to happen.
Yeah, I reckon it may be an idea for us to, at some point, pick up some good solid flasks. That way, because it needs to be brewed beforehand, so if we know we're going into a shitstorm, pardon my language, we can prepare, make the tea beforehand, pour it all out, and then we can go in, because it only stays as a really good one for 1 hour.
Yep. Well, flasks are pretty cheap.
Yeah. I'll leave the flask to someone else. I've spent a lot of money.
Okay.
You sort of think that in order to maximise the length, it'll need to be a thermos flask as well. Not that I don't think that exactly one of those exists, but maybe.
Yeah, I'm looking at the oil flask, which is a little bit more expensive. They're one silver.
And those would be like an oil or a potion flask?
Yeah.
Because those are made so they can take a hit.
Yep.
Especially potion flasks are made so they can be jostled around and blasted with fireballs and stuff as adventurers are running around getting into trouble, and not immediately shatter and not have the contents of them spoil if they're hit with like a giant ray of frost or like fire breath or acid breath and stuff. So probably potion flasks would
After looking around for a little while, you like separately or together, you all realise that in order for this to really work properly, if you want what you're really looking for is a battle-ready teacup.
Yeah.
Like a battle-ready tea travel mug, and
I have actually already written in my character sheet, because I was hoping to talk to you about it. I want a traveler's tea set. It's actually already written there. I just didn't want to interrupt yet to buy one.
So you're able to get one of those, like a really good quality traveller's tea set.
Like hooks onto your belt kind of thing, like almost like it's got a carabiner sort of attachment. And you just...
Yeah, probably about 5 gold for a really good one, and it wouldn't be a new one either. It would be an antique. So I think
it's got dents and stuff in it. Yeah,
so
it's all like
I'm
ready
buying one as well.
So as
a
party, mark that down as the second tea set that you all have, because I'm pretty sure we go. I'm pretty sure I sent one.
Special teapot.
You've got the special teapot?
I think I got a special teapot, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a special tea set that I gave out, and now you're buying this one, which isn't special, it's a normal one, so...
This is like a durable, like, camper's tea set.
Yeah. But it's still not something that will hold its liquid while you're in battle. It's something that when you camp, it won't break.
It's a camping set, yeah.
And sort of looking at that and talking about that, what you realise that you need is some sort of heat-holding...
Like a thermos.
Like a thermos, essentially. Like something that stoppers, that won't break. And so you realise you need it, but you don't know exactly how to do it. So if you come up with an idea, or if you go in search of the right person, that will be another tea set on the special tea set bonus completion part of the game.
Gotta collect them all.
What we need is an artificer.
For battle tea set.
That's what we need to find. We need to find an artificer.
Can you let me know when you get your notes back, Kitty, what that fancy tea set was?
Yeah, I'll have a look through.
And then give me a base
find
and send a basic rundown of what the one that you just bought was as well, because something tells me we're going to have to keep a record now of the extra special tea sets.
And that was 5 gold, you said, right?
5 gold, yeah. So it's a pretty good one, and it's an old one. It's probably like the person that sold it to you probably gave some cock and bull story about the freaking adventures that they had when they were using it, kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Sasha, can you be in charge of keeping all of the BS made up tea recipes that I make, please?
Yeah, I've got a section of notes for it already.
Good. So, because I'm
So
just
far, I've got honey zen in there, I've got carnal leaf in there, and I've got mage bloom in there, which is the healing one that we've got 8 of.
cool. But you've also got Sea Witch Brew, which is the one that's
Yeah,
Sea Witch Brew.
which is the
Oh, I
that's a
forgot to
scene.
write that one down. I forgot.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not going to be able to reliably write them all down and say what they say. So if I can sort of pass those on to you two, that would be cool. Was that everything for you, Remy?
That's me done. I'll get the flasks just to put the tea into it, so that I can leave and put some boiling water, and they'll last for that hour at least if we're going into a dungeon or something.
Alright.
But I know it's not long term. We need something better.
Now you get yourself a little bit turned around as you're walking out of the rat's maze, and you find yourself in a dead end. And as you turn around, this large sort of not fat but tall figure sort of pulls out of the shadow, looks at you and says, "Hello,
Oh, hello, stranger.
I am Movo.
I am Remiel.
Some call me Rudolph."
Some call me Tarazul.
And this guy, you walk close to this guy, and one eye is poking that way, and one eye is looking up, and he's this crazed look in his eye, and he says, "Do you like a drink?" And he sort of pauses and waits, and you don't say anything. And he
I'm
waits.
just going to eye him up insight or whatever it takes to.
Yep, have a go at insight.
Yeah, if that's appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ah, 7.
Turn. He looks at you and says, "I like to drink, and I got a little potion vial made of metal, and I put my drinks in that, and it was amazing. That's how I learnt about rust monsters." And then he just sort of shuffles off back into the crowd. And that was just my stupid way to bring in Rudolph Movo's comment there, who had a player who kept potions in metal vials. So he just threw a rust monster
Nice
at
one.
him. Yeah.
Nice.
Just sort of looking at different ways to involve chat, because we don't have a lot of chat at the moment because beginning of the year didn't do a lot of streaming over the holidays. But I don't want to be ignoring chat, but I also don't want to be just stopping what we're doing and talking about it. So I might mess around with that a little bit.
That's fine.
I don't think that was brilliant, but it was a bit of fun. I'll see what we can do.
I'm not drinking his bloody drink though. He's freaking me out.
Yeah.
So
No, that's cool because it also gives us a tip of, metal vials seem like a good idea until.
I'm always going to be reticent to throw too many unless there's a really good reason for it. Throwing rust monsters at people who've spent weeks and months collecting weapons.
Oh yeah, they're hard.
You're only going to get that if one, you've earned it or you've deserved it, or if there's a specific story reason why it would happen. Like,
It's like we need to cause that stuff.
Yeah, and if it does happen, there'll be a way around losing all your cool shit.
Right,
Yeah,
just
it's
have
like-
silver daggers and
Yeah.
wooden staves. We're fine.
That's it. I feel like a rust monster is really like from that old sort of murder hobo earlier sort of original 2
Gary
3.5
Gygax
sort
era.
of going. Yeah, it's me against you all, rather than the other way
Yeah.
around.
It's like Gary Gygax Black is just like black pudding, like rust monsters
Yeah,
and
literally.
mimics. Just
Yeah, you spent all this time trying to do that. It's all gone now.
I checked the chest to see if it's a mimic. It isn't. Open it up, grab all the gold. You take 1,000,000 D4. But what? What? You said it wasn't a mimic. Yeah, You didn't check the coins.
And Remy, finally, as you walk back out and you finally find your way out, you actually run into the guy that sold you the thieves' kit, and he sort of stumbles out sort of into the glare, looks at you and goes, "Good luck."
Live it up.
And finally, for Moses, what are you shopping for today, if anything?
I don't think I'd really be shopping for anything at all. I kind of feel like I have most of my...
It's still hungover.
Yeah. I'd
So-
maybe go and get my clothes cleaned.
Yeah,
Maybe throw a gold at that.
you could do that without even leaving the Always, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Let's get my clothes clean.
And while you're down there, like, that's easy enough done. While you're down there, you actually run into what's his name, Rolf, who is the music manager of the Always Tavern, who you've had to do with on a couple of occasions now. He sort of looks you up and down and says, "I assume you're performing again this evening?"
How many days have we been here now? It's been 3, right?
Yeah, this is probably your 4th night, I think.
Unfortunately, I may have to carry on. It is bad luck to perform at the same venue at least 3 nights in a row.
Roll a persuasion check for me.
Yep, 23.
He sort of nods. Yeah, of course, I didn't think of that. Tell you what, by the time these clothes have dried, words are hard, I'll have a solution for you. He winks and off he pops without actually waiting for you to answer. And by the time your clothes have dried, he comes back in and says, "Look, I can offer you a gig across the road there. Look, it's strictly speaking not a paid gig, but I'll pay you from here. So we'll make sure that you're looked after. Let me pop over to the Lonely Road, to the what they bloody call. I keep forgetting this one.
End of the road.
To the end of the road, and try your skills against the tellers of tales that live over there."
I would have to obviously make sure that I'm not needed elsewhere with my friends, but that is quite the challenge you have proposed yourself, Music Master.
For Moses to enter Battle of Bands. Okay, cool.
I do have Pyrotechnics now. Yes!
I'm going to write Battle of Bards, not Battle of Bands, but...
Oh, Battle of Bards, let's go. Oh no.
So I'm assuming that you all will finish up here, stay one more night, and then head out. And so,
Yep.
Is there anything else that we want to go through, talk about before we wrap up for tonight? Deafening silence.
I'm fine. I've done a lot of my stuff. And the rest of my stuff I can't really do without more gold.
Right.
So
Alright, so you come home, you eat, you drink, you marry, and we will take that up when you come back from the city and all meet up in the Always Tavern next week, where Formosus will be able to tell you that he's been invited to try his chops at...
And left the Bards. This
the end of the road.
Sunday.
I'll just run
I have to
mine.
get all my stage stuff from... Oh, we can all be part of the troupe.
Now, Formosus, you would know enough to know that it's that the Lonely Road is the end. I'll read you what we've got about the Lonely Road here. So the prime deity of Elstar Saban is widely considered to be the patron of all travellers and wayfarers. So sometimes Saban is referred to as the traveller. Many wanderers pay homage to the great herder by choosing a life on the road or floating on the tides. Others, forced into wandering, take solace in the knowledge that Saban watches over them. The Lonely Road is a network of travellers who transmit knowledge and information across Alstar, which is the wider world in which Vendalia floats. They act as a default clandestine network of intelligence, very, very loose, albeit agnostic in their motivations. There's no real leadership or structure in the order. The elder devotees tend to settle in their twilight years, making a final pilgrimage to Stormbreak Island before they pass on. And once they stop actually actively travelling, they settle. And where they settle, invariably, a roadside inn or a tavern sort of springs up. And they sort of end up being the roadside chapels of the Order of Saban. So some take up the calling and maintain them. The younger wanderers then stop by, and that's sort of how the information is passed. So that's how the word of the Lonely Road is passed, but it's also how the information sort of travels across the vast sort of areas in Vandalia. So they pass on their knowledge of the world of wander younger acolytes. They rest. Some take up the calling, maintaining roadside chapels to Saban and the external gods of the wider material plane. And these Lonely Roaders are the only ones who really still actively keep the pantheon that we see in the normal Forgotten Realms. So you'll find that Farglagan, the traveller in Forgotten Realms, is something that does sort of come up. But these sedentary law keepers are colloquially known as the Keepers of the Tail. One of the best known keepers is actually the person who runs the end of the road. It's an old chapel. It's seen as the centre of the network. So it's essentially where all information is supposed to coalesce. And this individual is seen to be one of the more intelligent and knowledgeable people, and the more intelligent and knowledgeable people find their way there. And you would probably know that the ancient keeper who stays in the end of the road is known as Dalric Arlum, and is known as the Keeper of the Tail, which is the de facto name for the leader of the order. So between the four of you, you would have bits and bob of that information. So it wouldn't be somewhere where you go in and sort of Scanlan short-halt yourself and cut sick. It would be more of a sort of a storyteller's ring. I
got this.
Mead and lutes rather than ale and guitar solos.
Mm-hmm.
But on that note, we will pick ourselves up in a fortnight as you guys prepare to pop over to visit the Lonely Road. And then hopefully by the end of that session you'll hit the Lonely Road, being the different version of it. Alrighty.
And I just put the Lonely Road in my notes, so just Lonely Road, travelling info, brokers, followers of Saban, Keeper of the Tail is the title of the head of the organisation. That's what I've got written down at the moment. I'll fill that out properly later on.
I'm just having a bit of a look in here. Pantheon. And I haven't put those things into the Session 0 documents yet because it's not finished. There's a few other... I'm sort of reading off the notes that I've written for the factions and organisations of Vandalia, but I'm still writing it, so I might separate those out and start to pop them up in the document section as well, just in case anyone wants to play around with them. Anybody who wants to add something or mess around with something that might link in or you think might link in, feel free to drop that in there and I'll take a look at some of it, and if I like it I'll take it and use it, and if I don't, someone else can. But just be aware that anything you drop in there, as far as I'm concerned, put your name on it if you want somebody to mention them if they use it, but aside from that it's free use, so whatever I've put in there, help yourself too. Alright. On that note, thank you very much, everyone. I did want us to have a fairly low-key one without too much battle after the last couple of sessions, and not to go super long, so I notice it's not even 9:30, so we're doing all right.
It's a nice ease in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, I am going to pop off pretty quickly, so thank you very much for watching. It was great to have a couple of people join us and chat for the first time. Rudolph Movo and Mac Bonda, both of you popping in and joining in. Thank you very much. And of course, we had the Lost One join us to say g'day for a while there as well. So thank you very much for joining in and watching. Anybody else who's sitting there and watching, thank you for coming in. I hope you join us again. The more that you can add, the more we'll try and work ways to throw in. But thank you, Kitty and Brendo, and thank you, Anthony and Sasha, as always.
Thank you, everyone.
Right.
And we will see
Thank
you
you.
all next time.